and welcome back to your second part of lesson 1.3. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue where we left off. This is where the last video finished. So, like I was explaining, what you guys have to do is, in order to answer, you have to match the sentences with the words that you have in the box, okay? So now, let's take a look at number 3. Number 3 says, read the text and answer the questions. Number 1, what type of things do some people do to get an interview at Harvard University? Number 2, according to the text, what should you do before and during an interview? Do you agree with the advice? Yes or no? Now, with this, we finish the first page of lesson 1.3. Now, let's go to the next one. On the top, we're going to start working on the functions. It says, talking about yourself. Number 4, listen to 3 extracts from interviews and answer the questions. Number 1, what type of interviews are they? Number 2, which interviewee doesn't follow the 5 tips? What does he or she do wrong? Now, don't forget that number 4 is linked to everything that you have learned previously. Remember that at the beginning of this lesson, you guys learned the different type of interviews, and we also read the stories about the 5 tips. Now, let's listen to letter B. Letter B says, answer the questions number 1 through 6. Listen again to check. So, this is a listening activity. In order for you to go ahead and finish this, what you have to do is you have to listen to the recording. Let's take a look at number 5. Number 5 says, read the extracts from the interviews, underline the expressions that introduce a question. Now, this is the key word in this number. It says, introduce a question. Whenever we want to introduce a question, you're usually looking for a question form sentence that is actually asking for permission. That's its job. Take a look at number 1. It starts with T. It says, okay, is there anything else? And S first tries to introduce a question. He says, could I ask a question? He doesn't go ahead and say, well, what job are you looking for? Or tell me what are your hobbies or anything like that. First, he's asking for permission to ask the question. That's what you guys have to do in number 5. Okay? You have a couple of examples that you guys have to do. And with that, let's go to the top. The top exercise says, put the words in the correct order to make sentences or questions. You have to be super careful here. Why? Because once or you're making affirmative or negative sentences and or questions. Okay? Now, let's take a look at number 7. Number 7 says, match expressions number 1 through 5 with expressions letters A through E. Okay? Let's take a look at C. C says, sounding polite. And this is at the beginning. Remember I said we're going to learn about this, this, and this. And one of our main topics was the intonation, sounding polite. It says, listen to the expression in exercise 7A. Notice how the speaker begins the expression with a high pitch to sound friendly. Listen again and repeat. Okay? And we will finish this lesson with a speaking activity. Number 8 says role play. Role play an interview in pairs. Now, this interview, I know you guys can't role play because you're not working actually in partners, but I still want you to come up with the situation and write it down in your notebook. Later on, don't forget that we have a group chat that you guys can go ahead and share all your activities and answers with me. Alright?